Have you ever thought, I know I read or saw something brilliant about whatever topic, but I can't remember where it is? A YouTube video, a newsletter, a Gemini chat? Our knowledge is scattered across tabs and PDFs and emails, voice memos, images even. But when we truly need it, we can't remember where it is. In this video, I'll show you an 8-phase workflow to build your digital second brain that can collect information from videos, emails, AI chats, understands audio and images, stays up to date, and can answer questions on your own knowledge. And the best part, it's from tools that you probably already have, and it's free. But to make sure that your AI brain doesn't become stale, there is a rule you have to follow, and I'll show you that in phase 7. Hi, I'm Chantal, and welcome to AI for 50+, born before Wi-Fi, owning AI. Today, we'll take our time, and I'll walk you through the 8 phases of the workflow. Don't worry, it's much simpler than you think. Let's go to my computer. So here we are in Canva, where I worked on the infographic that NotebookLM generated for the second brain workflow. I wanted you to have an overview of all of the phases before we got into each separate one. And it's appropriate, actually, that we're doing this with the infographic from NotebookLM because, for the most part, that's where your second brain will be living. The first phase is to set up the architecture for your second brain. The second one is to capture everything into a simple 4-bucket system. You can have less or more buckets, which are sources of information. The third phase is where some of the magic happens, where you can link documents and sync them instead of uploading new documents every time. Phase 4 is very simple. It's basically where you can also upload audio files and visuals. Phase 5 is optional if you're using Notion and one of your tables is relevant to the topic. You can also add that to your NotebookLM notebook. Phase 6 is using NotebookLM to enrich your second brain. And then you have a precision filter in phase 7 that I will share with you, and that one is really important. And finally, some kind of a maintenance ritual in phase 8 that keeps your second brain fresh and accurate over time. We'll use an example topic, one of my second brains, AI use cases that I really use for this channel. So let's go to my drive here. I called it Digital Second Brain. Here we go. And as you can see, I have 5 second brains going at the same time. And we'll go with the AI use cases. And the way to set this up, before you dump anything into your second brain, of course, you need scaffolding or a skeleton. Because in a minute, we'll start feeding it not only text, but also, as you saw, audio and images. So you create a main folder, as you saw, for your second brain with a given topic. Then within that second brain, you create an archive folder, resources and freebies folder, and a Google Doc simply called Inbox with the title of what you're going to be doing. So in this case, it's AI use cases, and I put summaries in there and images. Now the brain. And for that, we go to NotebookLM. We click on Create a New Notebook, and in the Upload interface here, you go on Drive. I'll go to the beginning of my drive so that you can see how simple it is. So Digital Second Brain, AI use cases, and then you select the inbox document and you insert it. Now, I won't do it here because I have a notebook already set up to show you, and I will bring you to that notebook right away. Now, you'll notice that my inbox document is here, and I've put 000 in front of it, and you go on the 3 dots here to rename it. So it's fairly simple. And the reason why I did that is that when we get to phase 3 and the syncing, it's much easier to find than to have to scroll through. I have 57 sources here, so I want it at the top or near top because, of course, the deep research reports will always be on top. Now, that inbox is your front door. Almost everything we collect will actually flow through that document into NotebookLM. Now that you have your skeleton done in your Google Drive and you've created your notebook, the real question is, how do we keep it from aging by turning into a mess of old, outdated notes? And that's where the Evergreen protocol comes in, and that's part of phase 2. And you'll see its use in phase 7. So phase 2, let me bring you to my inbox document. And phase 2 is the 4-bucket capture system. So here's the rule that keeps your AI brain fresh. There are 2 things you need to do. The first one is you put a date tag. Every time you add a summary, you will put that date tag. And if it's the same day and you have a number of summaries, no problem, you do it once. But every time it's a new date, you put it there. After that, and that usually is in heading 3. So if we look here, it's in heading 3. When you will put your summaries, and I will show you where I get those summaries, you put your title in heading 2. That's important because it gives the signal to NotebookLM that it's a new information or a new summary. So you put heading 2 and you upload you actually front load your new summary at the beginning of your inbox document. So that's why it's number 20 here, and you'll see if you scroll down a bit that we will get to 19 and so on. So the oldest document is at the end of the inbox, and your newest one is at the top. So those 2 things, the date tag and the fact that you front load your newest information at the beginning, that's what I mean by the Evergreen protocol. So that way, your most recent knowledge is always on top with a clear date. Now my 4 buckets. I'll start with YouTube because often what I would do is I would watch a YouTube video on a given topic, find it super interesting, and then save it into a playlist and never look at that playlist again. So this way now I can actually work on it. I really like Paul Lipsky, so let's go into this video here of his.
Is without a doubt one of the most...
And I will stop it here. And the important part for that bucket for me is that I'm in the Comet browser. Now it's free and I love it. So I go into the assistant here, and while this is playing, or even when it's not playing, I can simply say, here we go, summarize this video. And here we go, we'll go. And then you'll notice that it gives you everything that is in the video, all the steps mentioned, and I've tested it a number of times and it works really well. So what I do is I simply copy this here and then I paste it in my inbox document. So I put the title in heading 2, so let's go here. So I would put number 21, and I would put the title, and then I would paste the summary that I just copied right here. And I would put the date of today, which is the 4th. And that's how some of my sources actually come from YouTube videos. Bucket 2 is my Gmail, because I receive emails. Sometimes the content of the email itself is really relevant, or there's a newsletter attached to it. So you go into Gmail. And in Gmail, it's free, you can use Gemini. So you click here, and then you simply ask, summarize this email. And then sometimes you have to ask another question to get a bit more information, but this is a summary. You copy it, and then you do exactly the same thing. You put the date, you put a title. Usually I would put an email from the person who sent it to me. Sometimes I will add a title to kind of summarize the topic, and then you paste the summary there, and that's it. So that's my bucket number 2 For bucket number 3, it's one that I use often. It's my AI chats. Let's go to ChatGPT to show you. So I have a chat here. So what you do is you simply go to the end of the response, you click on copy, and same thing. You go, what I would do is I would go into my inbox, I put the date, of course, and in my title, usually I will put ChatGPT or Gemini or Perplexity, and then I would put a short title to explain what the topic was about. So that's my bucket 3. And finally, we have bucket 4, which are freebies and resources. And that's why you created that folder into your Google Drive. So I'll bring you here to show you a document that I got from HubSpot, and it supercharged your workday with ChatGPT. So what you would do here is simply save it in that folder. And in this case, you do have to go to NotebookLM, go into the upload interface, go into your drive, and then upload this document as a source. You cannot put it into your inbox. And that one doesn't benefit from phase 3, which is the syncing, because now that we've poured all that information into our system, how does the AI actually see the new stuff? And that's where the magic of the sync button comes in. We'll go back to NotebookLM. In NotebookLM, you make sure that your inbox is selected here. And then you will see at the top here appear click to sync with Google Drive. So you simply click on it. You'll see that this one now is dated the 4th. NotebookLM is the bomb, but I added something, number 22 here. And that's how it syncs everything. So all of your YouTube summaries, all of your Gmail summaries as well from newsletters, all of your chats that you've had with AI that you copied there, those 3 will be updated and it refreshes the AI's memory. And from now on, when you ask questions, it's using all of your latest notes, emails, and chats. But your knowledge is more than just text, right? What about those ideas that you dictate on your phone or that brilliant sketch from a whiteboard? We're going to teach our second brain to hear and see too. And that brings us to phase 4. Now at phase 4, multimodal sources like audio files and images. First, let's look at audio files and voice memos. I usually record my audios on Apple's native app, Voice Memos here. And from that app, what you do is you select the audio that you chose, in this case, video 22, AI use cases, press on the 3 little dots beside the title, then you press share on top here, you click on share, and then you choose where you want to send it. I have to go in the more here, and then I choose NotebookLM. Then it asks you to choose the notebook. I choose Second Brain, and then if you look at the sources, it's called video. You can see it's actually downloading there. So it's now added as a source. The other way of doing it is to go directly at NotebookLM. And here we are here. I'm going to get out of this. You choose again your notebook. Press here. And then you go at the bottom with the 3 icons, you go in sources, then you add a source, and you press on audio and choose the audio that you want to download here. So those are the 2 ways that you can add audios. So if you have some notes that you took while you were walking or doing something else, you can add them directly as sources here. Second, are visuals and photos. Let's say you take a screenshot of a thumbnail you really like or a photo of a whiteboard. What you would do is you would take the screenshot and then paste it directly into your inbox documents. And here I am in the inbox document and I have this thumbnail of a Matt Wolf video. So I've put it here, and next time you will sync, that will actually be synced as well. And I just want to show you in NotebookLM because I tested it. So I asked a question here. You'll notice that I've unchecked all of the sources, and I've checked only the inbox. And I've said in this source, because that inbox is now 65 pages long. So it's quite a big one. Describe the thumbnail in a screenshot of Matt Wolf's video. Based on the provided source, it's the thumbnail for the video, NVIDIA Grok acquisition explained, Insane acquisition, Matt Wolf, and then you have NVIDIA and Grok, and let's go back to check it on each side. So Insane acquisition is there, NVIDIA and Grok is here, and the title with Matt Wolf in the middle. So that's pretty awesome. So you can put also any, you work on a whiteboard and you take a copy of it, or you have a simple image that you want to put there. You can put it in there and it will be recognized by NotebookLM. Now, if you're using tools like Notion with tables and databases, you might be thinking, can that live also in my second brain? And yes, it can. And that's an optional phase, and that's phase 5. So phase 5 is integrating those Notion tables. I won't spend a lot of time on this now, but I'll have the whole process in the workflow document that I've linked at the top of the description of this video. So far, we've collected what we already know. Now we'll let NotebookLM go wild and bring back what we don't know yet. And that's phase 6, which is enrichment. And for that, you go on the left here in NotebookLM, make sure you click Web and Deep Research, and you paste a prompt here that I've put in the document that is linked in the description. And this is the prompt. Research the most impactful developments, meta-research, and best practices regarding topics, specifically for audience if need be. For example, if you have a health second brain, I'd want to put women over 60. Prioritize information published since date. Identify 3 to 5 highly actionable insights. And that's what I put here, and it gave me a great deep research. And what is great as well is that I have 57 sources, and I started only with the inbox document. And the deep research is another resource because I accepted it, and I accepted the 55 sources that went with that deep research. So now my second brain is much more comprehensive. Then in the chat, you ask, and I believe, here we go. You ask questions. So in this case, I said, what are the gaps of knowledge in the sources regarding best uses of AI for people over 50? NotebookLM looked at all 57 sources and then gave me an answer. That's the beauty of NotebookLM. You can continue asking questions, and when you see you have specific gaps, you can do a deep research on a specific gap as well, which is great. But here's the catch. As time goes on, your inbox document will be a mix of old and new information. So how do we make sure that it actually uses your latest thinking? And that's phase 7, the precision filter. And I'll go in the document that I've linked in the description. And so it's very simple. In the chat in NotebookLM, when you put your prompt, you simply paste those sentences at the end of it. Before answering, look at the date tags for all entries related to subtopic. In this case, I needed to because in AI use cases, sometimes it's NotebookLM or ChatGPT and I wanted specific things. Disregard any entry made before a specific date. This is your temporal chat prompt, and it teaches your second brain actually to respect the time and not just keywords. I tested it numerous times and it works beautifully. And finally, there's one habit that keeps this whole system lean and fast without throwing away anything. And that's phase 8, the spring cleaning or archiving. So what you do, I've put 3 months, but it could be a month for AI. Every 3 months, you look at your inbox document and you cut text older than 90 days or 30 days. And then you paste it into an archive document that you will put into your archive folder that we created at the beginning in our Google Drive. You do the same for your freebies and resources folder. Whatever is getting old, you actually move them to your archive folder. And what I do as well is in NotebookLM, you don't need to do anything with the inbox doc because you'll sync it and then it will be refreshed. But for your freebies and resources that you put there as separate resources or sources, I would uncheck them to make sure that, they don't contaminate your answers. Now, you can add your archive files in NotebookLM as a source as your long-term memory, but then you just have to be careful. You uncheck the archive, you uncheck the freebies and resources that are too old, and you ask questions only on the more recent one. And if you want to do more of a historical review, then you check all sources and you keep the archive. That way your active brain, especially if you make sure you uncheck some of those files, stays more current, while your archive file becomes the long-term memory. Your knowledge is your greatest asset, and this workflow turns it into something you can actually use. If you'd like a step-by-step document of this entire workflow, including the prompts and the buckets, check the link at the top of the description. Thank you for watching, and if you like this video, you'll love these. See you next week.